Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. I call the meeting to order at 7:02. First item on the agenda is continued review of the 27 applications. At our last meeting, we had gone through them pretty extensively. I think I know a couple of the applications, I don't think had too many questions. I know on the recreation, there were some questions. Travis had provided the comparison map from, I think it was 16 different towns. He updated the application as well. So kind of our goal, I think, for tonight is for our meeting on the 18th, I think we just look at each one, and if anyone has any specific questions or concerns that we want to get addressed prior to the 18th, so that I think the 18th we can kind of make our decisions as to what to put forth to the voters. So we'll do the trust application. I'll kind of go down the line. I don't think that there's anything new, anything updated. I don't think. Now, Ellen, I'll just ask you. Sorry.
Yeah, no changes.
Come on in. Are you here for the CPC meeting?
No, the splashback.
Oh, yeah. Come sit down. Come sit down. Absolutely. We haven't got to that yet. Thank you. Ellen, sorry.
No. No updates since our last meeting. It seems like all the questions were addressed, so we haven't.
Okay.
Changes.
And Freddie will have for us at the next meeting the and I'll let her speak to that more when we get to the budget piece, but we'll know what's available at the next meeting. So Grant, did you have anything further you want to request from the Housing Trust? Anything over 100,000?
Sorry, what was that?
It was anything in the accounts over 100,000 was the application. So
nothing. I think we clarified that it's 100,000 in the housing bucket.
yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, Claire, did you have any further questions on the Affordable Housing Trust application?
No, did not.
Okay, thank you. Kristen?
No, none on my end.
Okay, so I guess we will take that back. Ellen, if you could let the trust know that I have no questions either, and we'll be taking a position on the 18th.
Sounds good. Should I see if Doug or someone else is available to come to that meeting?
It may not hurt, but I don't think there's going to be any questions. I know if he wants to add something more, Ellen, then absolutely, they're certainly welcome to come.
You want this open?
Now I would close it. Thank you, Freddie. Okay, next up is the Rural Cemetery Water Tower Restoration Project. I will jump in and give a quick update here. So last night at the select board meeting, they approved the $5,000 for the engineering. So we could get an actual final cost on this, which I think is it was a great step in the right direction. I don't know that Kevin or Grant have any other updates other than that, and I'll come to them. What I will ask is on the 18th, just so everybody knows, chances are they need 30 days to get the final number of what we would put in the warrant if this is approved. So I may ask at our next meeting, knowing we're not going to have that, if we could extend. We put in the handbook, we could for extenuating circumstances, and I think we're so close now that I would ask the committee at our next meeting to extend it for possibly 2 weeks. So I think that would give time to get done. I don't think that creates that big of an issue, Freddie. 2 weeks. We could work on, conditions and everything else still, but we'll just be missing the final number. So, Grant, did you want to add anything?
No, just thank you for helping secure the initial kind of seed money there. No update. I know that there were a couple other outstanding items that I'll when I have more time, I'll return to ahead of the meeting on the 18th.
Perfect.
That we talked about, but
Alan, did you have anything further you'd like to request from them?
Not to request, just wanted to make sure so the commission's comfortable that's enough time to get a good number back to be able to.
Oh, historical?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, so I have.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't even know that they voted on it last night. I was just busy, so at least let me know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a rough estimate of a month.
Yeah.
So with the holidays and everything, I don't know if that's actually still feasible during December. I think that he may have already he's already done 3 site inspections with his people. So the thought was starting to do a bit of the work in advance. Hopefully should speed it up a bit, but I don't have an update on it.
Sure.
And we can certainly as well, we can add to, if we need to at our next meeting, we can, I'm not asking tonight to do it for the 15th. I'm just asking, just putting it in everyone's head that's going to happen at our next meeting. But we can decide on it.
And I agree. I feel like this is a great solution to get us more information that we need to be able to then move this application forward. So sure, I would this is a good update.
Claire, did you have anything further on the water tower?
No, I didn't watch the select board meeting, but that's good information. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was good news to see it done. That was the final piece that historical was waiting for, to be able to find out what the actual amount they're gonna need to put into the application. So that was good. Kristen,
Just along the same lines Ellen was saying, when the money is handed over, is there a contract and a due date basically? So this isn't dragging on, like we know we're gonna have it by a certain date. I know you don't know that date now, but are we gonna commit the people doing the study to a date via contract or something? Because without that, we might get pushed aside in lieu of other things. So I would be
Okay.
more comfortable with that.
okay, so Grant will take that back and, hopefully we'll have a better date. Now that they have the money, I imagine, it's gonna take a few days for, Kevin to contact
Mhm.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Okay, Dennis and everything, but yeah, so we'll add that as the one takeaway from this, so thank you. And I had nothing further on it, I just,
I have
uh,
something
go ahead, Freddie, sorry.
if you were closing.
All right, go, absolutely.
It's all right. I'd like to talk with Kevin about, because we brought it up several times about the status of the
PR.
Grant,
the grant, the PR, but even more importantly, the request for oversight by a historical specialist, and that gets built into your
right,
budget. And that was something that the last year in December, I think it was, I spoke to when I was asked to check in with the coalition, that Stuart said you can put that into the budget so that depending on who is the contractor to do
Yeah.
the work, you may not need I don't know, but you may not need a historical specialist to do the work, but you need a historical specialist to oversee it.
Right.
And that might be a different line item. And if it's okay with the commission, I'd just like to touch base with Kevin on that.
I'm good,
Sure.
good, shake of heads, yep, okay. Perfect, thank you, Freddie. Next, Fayetteville Park improvements. So I know at our last meeting, we had some questions. Grant had wanted to see the comparison from other towns. Travis actually provided that the next day. I mean, he was very on top of that. It was appreciated. He also updated the application and added the deed to it. So I know we have people here that want to talk about, be heard about Fayetteville Park, but I'm gonna first go through and see if the committee has any additional questions first. So thank you. Grant, did you have anything further? Specifically, the questions, concerns you were looking for?
I wouldn't say it's a question.
Okay.
I'll just note that of the, I don't know how many, there's 15 different splash parks that he provided, which
Yeah.
I do appreciate that this would be the largest of that on that list.
Okay,
And so I guess my question about the justification for the size still remains in terms of,
okay,
is it right for, our town's population? What kind of goes into determining the size of it? And that kind of ties into the discussion that we had last meeting about the amount of impermeable surface.
Yeah.
And,
impervious, yeah,
that's
he was
gonna
gonna
need
check on that too. Okay.
But other than that, no, I appreciate the kind of the update and
Okay.
and also the cost information that the other towns have provided,
Okay.
or, that you got.
So let me just read it back, just to make sure that I have it right.
Yep.
So, justification for the size based on we would be the largest of all the towns that you provided us. Is this right for our town side? And the question on impervious surfaces, and I think there was a question too, which fell under the impervious surface of the, what was it, the dust, the
Stone dust,
stone dust, and he was gonna check on that with the DPW,
Yes.
so I'll follow up with that.
preferable,
Or
right?
other permeable
Oh,
pavement
Right.
surfaces,
if I may,
permeable pavers.
because we're talking about it now,
Yeah,
we always ask about other permitting. Have you checked in? Like, is that within any? Did they address?
I believe he's spoken to, actually, let me set that aside. He's not here, so I'll take that away and talk with Travis about it.
So I'm talking about Concom. Are there any
Right, and-
contributions?
No, he talked to them and I don't believe there was any concerns, especially because the water is being recycled. Now, whether or not we need a permit of some type, I don't know, so I'll have to ask him about that, but he has been in contact with them and that's not an issue.
So there's no buffer zone impact.
No, the water's all recycled, but again, he
No,
had
no,
that
no, no, no,
conversation.
no.
No, I know what you're saying, the proximity, but he did have that conversation, so I'm gonna have to follow up with him for the specific details. I wouldn't want to give any wrong information, but we can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, just, I don't know how close you are to the reservoir, and I'm not sure the reservoir, that might be,
Considering the basketball
100
courts
foot.
there, we do have the basketball court there and the playground there, so I don't think we're intending on kind of pushing out much further than those, but again, I can get the details of that conversation and provide them back to the committee.
Ray, did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Right, and I'll come back to you at the end. Just follow up. Ellen, did you have anything further?
No other questions. Appreciate the information that was sent over and asking a question that led to that. So yeah, this is helpful.
Perfect. Claire, did you have anything, any further questions for recreation? And she froze.
Yeah.
Kristen, did you have any further questions for recreation?
No, I just have a point of order for tonight's meeting. Obviously Travis is not here and I know the public, there are some neighbors here to speak, which is great. The feedback's good. I know there was a couple conversations with Travis and he kept me up to date on those. As far as tonight goes though, he did not come because we're not actually voting on the support or to move it forward, not until the 18th. So while obviously happy to listen to all of the feedback, I want to clarify, Lisa, because on the agenda it's kind of open. Are we responding to that feedback tonight or just collecting it with the intent to respond on the 18th?
So
Or
if
before that?
it's specific questions for recreation, we'll make note of it. You know, Travis can certainly come back and watch the meeting. I mean, if somebody just wants to say they don't support it, then clearly they.
Yeah. And
As it
we've
is
had
broad, but
conversations.
we can't really specifically answer questions. I mean, the application's online. I wouldn't certainly want to speak for recreation or answer questions. And, obviously Travis will be here on the 18th. So you guys are certainly welcome to come back. You're welcome to be heard tonight, but you're certainly welcome to come back on the 18th if you're looking for specific questions or even reach out to Travis in advance. So I just.
And I'm familiar with the concerns, like Travis, they actually have reached out to Travis, which is great. And he relayed them to me and we've addressed I think we've addressed a lot of them. Again, then now we're just kind of getting into the debate of support or not support, which I don't think we're doing tonight. And I just wanted to clarify because obviously being here from the Recreation Commission, I absolutely could respond. I just didn't really know if that was appropriate or we should just hold that discussion on. We know that tonight, like we believe everything is in alignment in terms of the application being, in good shape, right? To make that final decision, but we're not doing that tonight. So I just want to be
Correct.
clear on the intent of tonight and just make sure the public understands.
No, so you're right. So the intent of tonight is just to make sure we have final outstanding items wrapped up for the 18th. Because the 18th is when we will be making a decision whether it meets the requirements and there's funding to be able to send it to the voters. But if someone has comments they want to make tonight, Kristen, obviously,
Yep.
they're certainly welcome to, but we really can't answer specific questions, at this point, depending on what the question is. Okay. Is Claire?
Claire said she dropped off, but I don't see her in the.
Okay, so we have to
Okay.
hold because she's our quorum. So
Okay.
we're gonna pause for a minute or two.
Lisa, this is not about the particular project, but it's about the way it's, so on the 18th.
Actually, can you just give your name and?
Oh, Lori Borden, 9 Winter Street. I'm a neighbor to the Fay Memorial Park. So it's more of a point of order. When you vote on the 18th, are you voting just to give up the money, but not particularly on the exact project? I'm just trying to clarify.
So on the 18th, and do you wanna? I mean, I'm happy to
I
answer
can
it,
explain it. The
Okay.
CPC
Fair enough.
makes
Okay.
recommendations, which means they vote whether they support a project or not. They can make conditions. They can ask for different things within the project, but they typically do not design a project. They're not in that field. A project's presented and either they support or don't support, but they can make some conditions. Then what happens is if they vote to move forward, they create the warrant article that goes to town meeting and town meeting votes on it.
Right, I understand that process. My thing is, if you vote to support this project, is it supporting the project as is, like with all aspects that are involved? That's my
That's
question.
drawing.
What's presented to us and in the application.
So can, changes to that plan are not to be made after
Not-
the vote?
They can, because we write the warrant
We
articles.
write the warrant
which can
articles
include
with
conditions.
conditions.
Changes.
So you could change the outstanding plan.
Like, for example, if they decide no dog park, only a splash pad, but you've already voted on the plan as the way it was submitted to you, can they make that change?
That,
Go ahead.
Or is it all or nothing?
it's never an all or nothing. If there is some significant reason that the project proponent decides that they can't move forward with a part of what they proposed, they can come back to the CPC and the CPC is, I don't want to say something that's needs town council's input, but could never make somebody do something, right?
No, that's
They
not.
would
what we're
still-
asking.
Yeah, that's
They
not what.
would, no,
that's
we
not
couldn't.
at all.
What I'm saying is, we can't make them build the whole thing if they're saying we're not going to. That's what I'm saying.
If you
If they-
approve the plan as is, and you say, we're gonna move that forward to town meeting to give it the funding. And then between that point in town meeting, recreation decides to change that plan
You're talking about before it's voted on.
before it's voted on by
By town
town meeting. After it's voted on by this committee,
Mhm.
before it's voted on by town meeting. If recreation decides to change, substantially change the plan
They would need to come back to the CPC
for a re-vote.
for a. If
Yeah.
it's, so we're talking two separate things here. I was explaining something for after the vote. Before the vote, they could come back and say, we want to change this, and we would either rewrite the warrant article or. Well, we'd rewrite the warrant article and adjust the finances, and then. That would go to town meeting. It would either be in the warrant, or if it wasn't time enough, we would do it on the floor.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah.
What also could happen is if after the fact, they chose not to move forward with all the components, they again come back to the CPC and talk about it and, so the full. And people don't understand that this is not, it's not like they get the money to go off and do what they want. This is, they submit the invoices, so it's only paid for what work they do.
So to clarify what you're gonna vote on December 18th, and I know we will, now that you have a full quorum, we'll ask our questions. I'm just asking about the process. So what you are voting on the 18th is in fact the new splash pad and the dog park, and the walking trail around the perimeter. That is what you are voting for.
If that's
to all of
plan
those
that was-
items.
If that's the latest information on the application we have,
That is what you're.
that's what
voting
we're voting. But as Freddie said, if in February something changed, then they can come back to CPC and say, we're changing it. It's gonna be X amount of dollars or whatnot.
And also, we take another vote at a later date to finalize the warrant articles. which
Correct.
is Typically, is that February or so?
Yeah.
And so that's based off of the, essentially the final application and also the
Yeah.
final language about the amount of money and all that is kind of finalized like that.
So it does sound like there is an opportunity, so we will share our questions in a minute, I know. But if it were passed on the 18th, and then it was, the pressure from the neighbors were such to take away the splash pad, then you would be able to accommodate that and change the warrant article after you vote yes on it.
That's if recreation wants to amend the article.
Only if recreation wants to.
Like,
We
we don't-
can't change the article.
I get
We
it.
have to
Yeah, I'm just
request them
clarifying.
change it.
Got it. Okay,
You can change the article, but you can't change the project.
Right.
right, okay.
But you could have conversations.
And
Right.
well, yeah, recreation's absolutely not done with public outreach, right? So there will be opportunities, 100%.
Before the 18th. Sounds like.
Not before the 18th. The 18th, the application's going forward as is. But understanding that we always plan to have public forums between then and town meeting to continue the discussions. Obviously we've gotten feedback both ways. So that's, the intent is to be able to discuss it out more with the public before getting on to the floor of town meeting.
Well, final.
We're ready for our
Let
questions.
me just, Claire, did you have anything further that you wanted to add for the recreation project? Okay. So Lori, again, Travis isn't here to answer questions. We can answer to some degree.
That's fine.
Okay.
Um,
But I would suggest if you do have issues and concerns with the project as well, that you do reach out to recreation.
We already have.
Yeah, okay,
Both Lori and I have had long discussions with
okay,
Travis.
good.
okay.
So they won't be blindsided and.
Yep.
Um,
He knows our position.
So.
And I just want to clarify, Travis isn't here tonight because this was more
I
of a
did not, right,
Yeah.
this was more of a last meeting for us to go through and make sure that we have everything that we need from them in advance. So that's why he's not here.
But it is also okay for you to weigh in.
To speak, absolutely.
Yeah,
And let the committee know your position, because one of the application questions is what level of community support is there for the project?
Yeah, I mean, we're just hoping that you in making
I'm
your
sorry, could you,
decision.
yeah,
in
can you
whether
give
to
your name and
see-
address?
Oh, Trisha Ransfiore, 10 Winter Street.
Thank you.
You in making your decision on your vote in support or not support of the project being proposed, we are hoping you would take into consideration the opinions of those that live closest and will be impacted most by any of these decisions.
Okay, fair enough.
She's going to speak first.
Okay. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, Lori Borden, 9 Winter Street. I've been living here on 9 Winter Street as a neighbor of the Memorial Faith Park for 13 years, a resident of Southborough for 27. I want to thank Recreation for your quick response in rebuilding the playground back with the microburst. So there's a positive and kudos and appreciate that. And for the opportunity to come and talk tonight. I think any additional improvements to the park are great and they're welcomed. And I love seeing the kids down there. But I will say grave concerns. I will even go one step further and say strong opposition to the splash pad. And it's not just because it's in my neighborhood and it's the traffic. I love seeing kids down there. I think I have some legitimate reasons why I have strong concerns about it. As a nurse, as a grandparent, as a previous coach, green space and free play are essential to a healthy child. And I think also the goal of Recreation is to make this park welcoming to all age groups. We have a great playground, great basketball court. I'm neutral about the dog park, whatever you want to do, but the splash pad, it is seasonal. I did a little research. We have weather that's over 70 degrees, 3.4 months a year. That's over 100 days. That is less than 30% that this splash pad will be utilized by our communities. In a contrast, 100% of the time, that green space is used. Last week, I had pictures of 11 kids playing kickball out in that green field. We have groups going in and playing and doing early morning workouts. We have people coaching kids and doing running in those fields. I've seen people climb kites. I've seen birthday parties and kids kicking soccer balls, playing tag football. That green space is essential. And I think it's really important to our kids that we keep it there and not have 8 months a year of a splash pad that's not utilized in New England. So I strongly oppose the splash pad. Kudos to everything else and to the improvements. And I hope that the CPC will look at how you vote based on this feedback, that I think it's just not the best utilization of our space for our children and not just our community, but as neighbors and abutters, but to the whole community of Southborough. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kristen, if I could just add to, when are you gonna have the results of the survey? Will you be able to share those with us by
Yeah,
the 8th?
the results have been rolling in. I think we have at least several hundred at this point. I don't think we've closed it formally, but I can get the latest results for the commission or the committee,
Okay.
sorry.
No, I just think that would be great for us to have as well. So.
Yep.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And it's still open. I don't believe we've closed it, so more people are encouraged to complete it. It's on the Recreation website, I believe.
Okay, I know you guys sent out emails. I got it through email. Maybe
We can do another blast too.
Yeah,
Or
that's what I think, to do another push, Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, Claire, did you have your hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. This is just kind of a procedural question because I'm taking notes for minutes just in case I get called on to do minutes. Do we need to have the people who are speaking from the audience identify themselves just for the record in the minutes?
They have, Claire. Before they speak, they've identified themselves. Do you need them to re-identify for you? It's in the, it'll be in the recording. But, so Lori Gordon spoke, she just finished speaking. Lori, you're at 9 Winter Street,
Okay, yeah,
and then Patty Fiore, and you're at 10 Winter Street. Those are the two
Okay.
that have spoken so far. But thank you for asking, Claire.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Can I have your name and address, please?
Dean Lamsa, 2 Winter Street.
Dean Lamsa, 2 Winter Street, Claire.
Claire.
All right.
I have a few things that I'd like to have on record. First of all, this has been continually referred to as Fay Park in our survey and in talking tonight. It's been called Fay Park. It is actually the Harold E. Fay Memorial Field. I want to, as an Army veteran, I think it's important for us as town residents to remember those who died in service of our country. Harold E. Fay died in Italy during World War II. And I think it's important that when we're talking about this location, that we please call it the Harold E. Fay Memorial Field.
Point taken.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a big concern about parking and traffic. Let's talk about parking first. So I live on 2 Winter Street, which is right next to the park. One of the closest houses to park, to Memorial Field. And even though there are signs on that section of Winter Street from Central Street to where it makes the bend of no parking on either side, there is continually parking on both sides of the street, including on the corner where there is a sign that says no parking on corner. In addition, the handicapped parking spaces that are available are regularly filled with people who are not handicapped and have no handicap sticker, no handicapped license plate, or any indication that there's a handicapped person parking there.
If you
These are all
brought this concern
important.
to
Yes, I have brought this
recreation,
up to I have not brought it up to recreation. I've called the police department
Okay.
on numerous occasions. Traffic on Winter Street is already bad. Are you familiar with Winter
well,
Street?
it's the cut around to go
It's
up
the
to the
cut
light.
around.
Not, yes, of course.
Yes.
Hit the
My
light on
Instacart
Central
guy
Street.
cuts around there all the time. Yeah.
And do you know how fast traffic goes through there?
Is it trying to beat the light?
It's,
Yeah. So let me just ask you this, have you had us talk to asked to have a meeting with the police chief to discuss these? I mean, I don't know what recreation necessarily can do.
No,
It's good for them to be aware.
I'm
But there are
letting you know
issues.
of the concerns that I have of increasing
Okay,
usage
okay, fair enough.
of the park.
Okay.
That's my concern.
Okay,
As usage increases, there will be more traffic and more parking issues. And I don't know what the final plan is in regards to adding parking at the Fay Memorial Field.
let me just interrupt you 1 second. Kristen, I know Travis touched on parking. Can you
Yeah.
make a note to just ask him if he can address? I know he wasn't aware of some of these issues brought up tonight. Can you
It was
just-
on the survey that I turned
Okay.
in, and these have been raised
They're on
by,
the survey, but can you just maybe bring it up to Travis so he can address the
Yep.
park? on
Yeah,
the
we
beach?
planned on, now that the lot across the street is making progress, I don't know if you've driven by,
Yeah.
we're in a better position to start nailing down the number of spots, as well as talking to the DPW about the lining up on Central Street for those spots and whether or not, there's other places. So that's definitely part of the plan. We'll have more information on the 18th on that. Again, there's some things in motion, specifically that parking lot across the street next to the the new historical commission building,
Okay.
Fayetteville Hall. I think we're still calling it
Society.
Fayetteville Hall.
Society.
Yeah.
One thing I'll
Historical
note,
Society, sorry. Yeah.
one thing I'll note that's helpful, there was a plan originally called for parking in the, part of the existing
Yeah.
park now. I can't remember how many spots it was,
12.
but that has been, like the revised plan that's on the website now has been, that all parking has been removed and it's been
Yeah,
replaced with a, picnic
It wasn't
area.
really practical where they had it, Frank, the the incline of the spot where it was. But again, that's something that we're still looking at and we'll be better prepared to kind of nail down the number of spots on the 18th. But the information about Winter Street, I've also been a longtime resident of Southborough, and I never thought about using Winter Street. And not that I'm going to, I didn't realize people use that. Like, it just never even occurred to me why, but it makes perfect sense. I was personally not aware of that being an issue, but certainly we'll take that in advisement. As Lisa mentioned, that's probably in partnership really with the police on enforcement and what else can be done to avoid people using that as a cutoff. So I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, I probably made it worse by saying something, sorry, guys. But
I'm not gonna
you
do
know-
it.
So yeah, so recreation has now heard, some of your concerns and again, they'll talk more, Travis will talk more about
I have a couple more.
Oh, absolutely, go ahead, sorry.
So one of my other concerns or thoughts I want to throw out there is already the gazebo, I don't know what you actually call it, where the picnic tables are. I call it the gazebo. Gets used frequently by people for birthday parties. There is no sign or any signage indicating that they should reserve it and pay a fee. I am very interested for hearing what kind of revenue we do get from the birthday parties that are held there. Because I have a feeling that there's lots of people who just assume that they can go there and use the gazebo for their birthday party and never think to pay their fee or reserve it.
Kristen, you don't have to, we can wait till Travis comes in, but do you wanna just touch on that or?
I totally understand the point. We have that problem all over town, right? 9/11 is a great example of it. It's turf field. If no one's on it, people go on it. We do try to reinforce to a degree, if kids are playing out there, we're not going to go nab them. And, as long as it's not conflicting or they're not causing damage. It gets a little different when you see organized sports, or like we had an issue with over at Neary, I can't think of the sport, with the cricket, for a while on Sunday morning. So, we do try to stay on top of those things. It's impossible to completely enforce it, but we can certainly add in more signage. Again, I hadn't heard, I can envision that problem. We have it on our tennis courts, for people giving lessons there. So again, we can take that back and I can get the number of how much money we've actually gotten, and then what steps can we take to further reinforce it. I think signage to start with, if it's not there already.
That'd be great.
Okay, Lisa,
Sorry.
can I just speak to that really quick?
Absolutely, go ahead.
So just from my experience of hosting my daughter's birthday party there, so there's no fee to rent the pavilion if you're a Southborough resident. So it's only non-residents that recreation has to pay. So
You're
you're
still
still
supposed to reserve it.
You still reserve it, absolutely. So there's a process to go through and coordinate with recreation, but you're not charged a fee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lived experience.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go, the best experience.
In the proposal that we received, when we got our survey handed to us, there was a proposal to add lighting. Is that in the current proposal
No.
or? It
No,
is not. Okay,
No.
thank you. That's good to hear. I would prefer, the Fay Memorial Field to be, a dawn to dusk, place, so that we don't have that evening noise. That would be great. Thank you. And we were wondering about, is there a process for getting involvement of neighbors in the design process? it would have been nice to have heard from the rec department earlier in the process to be perhaps involved in that process. Is that something that is generally done or not done ever, or?
So what we have now is kind of almost like a prototype. Like the design firm will only go so far with us until they know that this is actually going to be a project. And then the first thing we enter into is that formal design and kind of engineering phase. So in between now and town meeting, whether we know we can even do that work are the public forums to get that feedback. The reason why we haven't done it yet is that this was a fairly, I don't want to get too down a road, but other projects or other areas that we've been exploring became impossible, and there's not really any more land left in town for public usage. And so this was pulled together rather quickly to get in front of the CPC. We do have our land architect engaged, but at this point, they're going to wait to see how the town's feeling before they take it to that next step to do formal design. So long-winded answer is there will be an opportunity to provide input. Absolutely.
Kristen, do you know, have you guys scheduled the forums yet, or?
No, I mean, we will be. It hasn't been the focus of the last couple of meetings. I think we wanted to make sure we were proceeding
Yes.
forward.
Yeah.
Because right now there's still even the question of the budget, so it seemed a little premature.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Just, I mean, we can certainly through CPC as well, let people know when the forms are taking place. So, okay.
Final point.
Final point. Yes, sir.
My understanding was that folks in town had made their interest in having a swimming pool in town. But that was considered too expensive, and this was an alternative to having a swimming pool. Is that a correct? That's what I heard. So is that a correct statement, or is that a falsehood that I should just forget about?
No,
don't.
it's a fair.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Lisa. Do you want to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's a fair summary. It's high level, but in terms of why we can't have a pool, it's at this point in time, there's a lot of aspects to it. Cost being one of them, staffing, but really location. We just don't have property that's owned by Southborough anymore left to even consider things like that. I don't think it's off the table long term, but realistically, with all of the things we're facing in the near term, and also with both of our directors, our previous director having experience running a pool, it's significant between utilities and resources. So that is fair to say, overall cost, there's a lot of aspects to it. So a popular water feature, to alleviate that need of, especially in the summer when it's hot and people are looking to get their kids out. We know that in other communities, the water park's been a really great in their opinion, a good feature introduced that has much lower maintenance costs, but provides some alternative.
I understand. My original feeling about it was a water feature like a splash pad is not equivalent to a swimming pool.
No.
I get the okay, we can't do that. We can do something that sort of fulfills a similar desire. Okay.
Thank you, Patty. Just give me 1 second. I would suggest, Mr. Lenz, as well, if you share, I'm sure Kristen will take these back to Travis as well, but you might want to shoot him an email or, stop by or call him, let him know some of these concerns as well, just so he can be prepared on the 18th to speak to some of these as well. And that would be really helpful. Thank you. Ms. Fiore.
Thank you. Patty Fiore, 10 Winter Street. I, along with Lori, also had a lengthy conversation with Travis, independent of Lori's. But I think we were both expressing the same concerns. And we would hope that Recreation and this committee would consider put more value in consideration of the opinions of the abutting neighbors than in other people that maybe are not there living it every day and seeing the repercussions of developing this kind of a park. I would hope that you would give us, a little more value in our opinions than others. I have one question, just to start for Kristen. Can I ask how much money has been spent on the design plan that you did?
And again, I don't know if Kristen's gonna have that number. That might be something
don't-
Patty, we can ask Travis for. Go ahead, Kristen, sorry.
I can ask, I'm not even sure, quite frankly, because we're engaged with them elsewhere, how much, if they have charged or if they're doing this, because they did say, at some point they kind of have to draw the line, but I can absolutely find out. If it would have been out of our revolving fund, which is funded through the recreation programs, but I'll take that away. But the whole point is we don't have a full-fledged design because, at some point they're going to say, well, let's make sure this is a real project. So I can't believe that it's been very significant.
Right, but just going back to the comment of, we would have perhaps liked to have some input before money was spent on a design plan to potentially save some of that money.
Yeah, no, it would have been, we as a commission just needed to see what was even possible. We didn't even know what would be possible there. So really our question was, can you just envision for us what would be possible so we can start discussions? Just so the commission hasn't even met directly with, and we asked about this meeting directly with the architect, but he's like, at this point, there's not much more they're going to do, right? Until we know. So he's like, I'm not quite sure. And I agreed because I'm the one who brought it up, meeting with the architect. But upon that, I was like, yeah, at this point, bringing them in without them having some level of assurance that we're getting to the next step, which I'm sure would be that intake and feedback, getting ready for an article. We're just not at that point in the process yet. But again,
yeah, but you have paid architectural fees to have this plan done.
I'm not even sure about that. So I'll get that number, but it would be minimal. We're not talking like tens of thousands of dollars by any stretch of the imagination.
So I am in full agreement with Lori regarding open space and green space. One of the best things about that park, which I walk a lot, is the view of the reservoir. I think a lot of people enjoy having so close to the water and the view of the reservoir. I am in full agreement with her that that is something that we need to maintain. And in speaking with Travis, a big lightning bolt hit me when he described the dog park, because he said it would be fenced and meshed. I think that's a total eyesore. It's going to be an eyesore to the community, to the neighborhood, and to what you're viewing at the reservoir. So I am really against that, just because of the visual aspect of it and how that's going to look. In regard to the splash pad, I have concerns about liability and insurance that I did not get real answers, and I think it's because it hasn't maybe been discussed. He said that he didn't feel that it was an issue with planning board or anything, but I would be concerned about liability and added insurance costs in having that kind of a water feature there. Second, in regard to the splash pad, my really big concern is how close it is to the reservoir. Living in that neighborhood and having recently tried to do something with my septic system to enlarge it, to enlarge my housing space, I was given a flat no, that I could not touch it. I could not change it. I am probably, my septic system is probably 5 times further away from the reservoir than this splash pad is. I can't understand how this could be approved. I know that you're saying that the water is recirculating, but you are bringing water in. Those water lines are going within, I'm going to say 100 feet of the water, and probably within 20 feet of state property, protected state property. Even though the water is being recirculated, I assume there has to be some kind of drainage or potential for drainage if there's an overflow of the water, because if the water is coming in, you're bringing electricity in to pump the water. I can't understand how that would be approved by the state being that close. If it is, I'm going back to somebody to do something about my septic, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
And these are the types of things we tackle in full-fledged design. But initial discussions have told, and in Travis's defense, because he's not here, you gotta, like, when he's gonna be hesitant to give you full-fledged answers on the insurance and everything when we're not even in a meeting with the commission and or the CPC. So he may not have had that information off the top of his head, but all these questions have been considered and asked. But again, that's really the point of a first phase of any project when you get into formal design. We wouldn't bring it forward unless we had some reassurance that it was possible. But you always have design because you never know what might come up and you don't want to spend too much without understanding that. So again, we'll have more complete answers for you on the 18th, but rest assured, all of this has been taken into consideration. And I understand what you're saying. That is confusing to me, but
I would be really, really interested to know what loophole that fits in to get it located so close to state property and the reservoir, which is pretty.
I don't think we were like trying to get through any loophole, but again, we'll make sure that's properly addressed in the next call.
And
And
one thing,
If
if you don't mind, one thing I'll note is that with previous projects as well, that the permitting still has to take place after an approval before any building takes place. So that we
But
faced
I would
that
think
with
you would
the golf.
know in advance whether it's going to clear the hurdles of any permitting before going through a design and planning phase.
Mhm.
I mean, if it's not a
CPC often does it.
feasibility to do it, you're not gonna want to spend money on an
Right.
architect to design it.
But those conversations have been happening.
So my last point is it's something that I think Dean brought up briefly, which is in regard to parking. A couple of years ago, I think it was a couple of years ago now, I kind of spearheaded with the neighborhood to work with Bill Cundiff. It was actually right after he started. I felt
Yep.
bad about hitting him up. And Chief Ryan, in regard to that intersection of Winter Street and Central Street, because literally people were parking all the way to the edge of the street of Winter Street intersection, so that if you were going out of our street to turn left or right onto Central Street, you literally had to be halfway into the intersection to see if there was any oncoming traffic, which, you know, in rush hour, that could be a little dangerous. So Bill kind of worked with us and was great and did an engineering plan. And he actually moved the lines and had lines put in that backed up all the parking on there. And even though it says no parking beyond here, we still have those issues, but it's less than it was, but it also decreased the number of parking spaces along Central Street. Along with Dean, I've taken pictures of cars parked in front of the sign that says no parking anytime and sent them to the police and have called the police when I've seen cars parked there because it is entirely illegal. We already have an issue if there is somebody using the pavilion or something, they're parking all the way down Winter Street. It's a narrow street. You cannot park on both sides of that street, and parking even on one side of the street means it narrows the street. So that is a concern for safety for us as residents. If one of us had an emergency and a fire truck had to get through there with that turn, if people are parked on that turn or parked along, like in front of Carol's house or in front of Dean's house, it could be an issue in getting emergency vehicles there. We have requested numerous times for the police to enforce it. It's obviously not a street that the police are gonna sit on to watch for parking enforcement. And I'm sure that they respond when we call, but this kind of a park is only going to make our parking issue worse. We have limited parking there. During that time period of 2 years ago, when we were doing this and they put in, the lines on Winter Street and the new lines on Central Street and the signs, I had also brought up with both Bill Cundiff and with Sam Stivers, who was on the select board at the time, in regard to essentially where this plan has a dog park of putting in parking there, because there is an access road that goes down to that shed. So it wouldn't be incredibly expensive, in my opinion, if you were to create an extra 8 parking spots or something there to relieve the congestion on Winter Street. And for me, I think that would be a better use of funds for the neighborhood than a splash pad or a dog park, would be to create additional parking. I can see that you will potentially have issues moving forward with accessing the, what is it, the parking spaces at Fayetteville Hall that are built into the deeded parking spaces. I think you're gonna have a little bit of an issue and a fight with that. So I don't think that's something that you should be counting your chickens on in regard to the number of parking spaces that you're going to provide for now a park that's going to have a dog park, a splash pad, a pavilion, multiple pavilions. You are going to be bringing more people in and you're not going to have a place for them to park.
So
Thank you.
Kristen has note of some of these things and I'm sure she'll share some of them with Travis. I think some of these things are gonna be pertinent as you come into your forums as well, Kristen. So I thank you for coming. I thank you for sharing your concerns. Travis will be here on the 18th. You are certainly welcome to come back at that time as well. And just know you were heard.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, go ahead. I just need your name and address. Sorry.
My name is Parul Sharma. I'm from 4 Winter Street, South Brooklyn. For me, the three main concerns are the children walking on Winter Street itself. Since it has no walkway, they are walking on the street. And if they are to the right of the parents, they're basically in traffic. And the traffic coming down over there, especially on cold days, because of the leaves, the road is slippery. Every time I turn in front of Dean's house towards my house, you can feel the car slide because it's not usually salted as well as the main street, which is Central Street, Oak Street. The traffic is coming from Oak Street. They're usually just speeding through it to get to Route 30 or bypassing Route 9 to go towards Marlborough. The second is we have a porta potty there. I don't know how much the town is doing to maintain it, but it is frequently used. So based on that, you can see how much the park is also used because, you know, it has to be an emergency before you use one. So,
You're a Sharma.
and finally, the land in front of our house, at least, is slipping. Earlier, we could park on the right side, straight, and now the cars are tilted. And when we tried to shore up the place and cover it so that the knotweed would not grow, because knotweed warms the land, and because of the constant air storms coming straight towards Winter Street, the land is slipping away. So it has created puddles. We have had a new road made.
You're a Sharma.
Mira, can I call you back? I'm in a meeting.
I'm sorry, where were the stones coming from? That's the only piece I didn't hear.
No, so because it was like slipping away, we just put some stones there, so it was more straight. But we can only do it within 10 feet from the road. Like there is a limit. After that, it belongs to MWRA.
Yeah.
They don't want us to touch anything there. And earlier, the deer would come from the water up into our yards. But now so much of the land has slipped that it's a steep, I don't know if you visited there, but it's a very steep, what do you call it? Not a cliff, it's a drop off. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there are people who go fishing there. They leave their fishing lines. We have not seen them, so I don't know when they come and go, but it is pretty tall enough.
All right.
And parents also go and use the water in the, what do you say, in that reservoir to have a cooling dip. So even though there's no, like, you know, swimming allowed. So please, like,
Okay, I don't know.
if you
Again,
can
you
use
just make note of these things that, you know, in your comments. So thank you.
I think the point that Parul is making about the erosion.
Yeah.
On the side of the road, it's the side of the road, in front of Dean's house, but really in front of her house and the next door neighbor, Tim, where it is eroding away. But what that makes happen is when people are parking along that street, they're parking more into the street. They're taking up more of the street because there's no shoulder anymore.
Okay.
And in the summer, it is right up to the road, the Knotweed.
We'll take a drive down, I'm sure, you know, some of us use the park, so. Ellen, Ellen's probably more familiar.
To cut through?
To cut through, no, I won't cut through, I promise, I won't cut through, I'll just drive. and-
You can do it at least as long as you wave.
You know, I will, you know, I was gonna say, you know, maybe I'll stop and have a cup of coffee or something. while I'm
There
there.
you go.
But, thank you for coming, thank you for sharing your concerns and, you know, oh, sorry, Freddie, go ahead.
I had one, you brought up something in the past, Grant particularly had mentioned that we should be looking at the master plan and how projects match with that. And you just mentioned the knotweed.
Yes, because
Is that something that recreation could look into? I don't know if it's on your property or if it's part of the project, but like how you can mitigate that invasive?
A DCR land or?
Is it on the park?
it's everywhere. And it will grow underneath and come out like if you're not maintaining the lawn. So, and the thing is, in Rhode Island, they are replacing the knotweed with native species, but I don't think our town has any plans for that.
That's another topic, because we're just
Yeah.
talking about this
Yeah.
project, but I would say that, Kristen, maybe that's something just to think about.
Yeah, it's not like.
Keep on the radar.
It's a 5 year, it's a minimum 5 years to start dealing with it.
Awesome.
Get some goats.
Well, thank you for coming out. We always appreciate, you know, having feedback on our project. So thank you and Travis will be here on the 18th. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, budget review. Do you just want to touch on that quickly, Freddie?
Yeah, real quickly, didn't, the numbers are coming in and we'll have a full one to give you on the 17th. I did. What?
I think we're.
18th,
can't-
sorry, the
yeah.
18th, right.
Yeah.
So
Have
I
a good
just want to explain that,
Good night.
I talked with Lisa about it and I was going to talk about some portion of it, but it doesn't make sense because it doesn't, you need the full picture to understand what the funding availability, and it also means going through the bonding capacity. So I'm going to give you that whole bonding talk. Because we are, unlike other years where there was rolling in the dough, so to say, we're not anymore. And, you know, you want to be thinking about the big picture for years to come based on what you do this time. And, anyhow, so the 18th,
18th. Yep.
but it's not desolate.
We'll have a better idea. Well, we're gonna need to know that when we go to projects anyway, so Freddie will go through all of that with us. Okay, that brings us up to signage. So, Alan, I will happily pass this piece off to you.
Oh, so, yeah, I think the last time, thank you though.
Yeah.
The last time we discussed this was getting the, sign over for the Peninsula Trail.
Yes,
And so, I saw Lisa when you sent that out. What was the follow-up from that? Did that work out for the Trails Committee?
it must have. She
Okay.
was supposed to send me something back and she didn't, but I know
Okay.
they were under a time frame. I can follow up. Sure, I'll make a note. I'll follow up with, Pat on the sign.
Great, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll have that for our next meeting.
So I think that was kind of our particularly pressing sign to get squared away, and we had a pretty extensive conversation in the last meeting where we talked about this and about kind of designs for the permanent sign.
Yeah.
And landed on the one that was sent out to Trails. So I think our option is to kind of move forward with that one if that's still one that people are comfortable with. And we can take another look through them tonight, and then we didn't spend much time last time thinking about the temporary sign. So
Right.
kind of the vinyl that would go up for projects that are in progress. So we could spend some time on that tonight, as I think it is, as we talked about, kind of an important piece to be demonstrating, you know, where voters have chosen to spend this money and what it's going towards with the town.
So I think. I know we talked about the golf course, the irrigation project, but that is. on hold at this point from what I've heard. So there's really no sense in putting a sign up for that yet. There is the other part to the trails. The Peninsula Trail, it's a two-piece,
That would be as being built.
right, but I mean, they haven't started the work on it. So I know we talked to Kat about phase one, and that's what we gave her the sign for. What about phase two?
Yeah, as they start that, you'll want a temporary sign, but for phase two, I think you would want an idea of where to place it best, because it's I think you want people, I don't think it's highly visible.
Yeah, I know.
And if you have one where, I think we should or some members of the committee might want to take a walk with Kat
With
at
Kat.
some point. Because I think there's the entrance, and that's where most people will see it,
Right,
but the second phase two is off in the woods next to Route 30.
right,
With a bridge overpass. Now,
yeah.
that would see the same people who are going to see the first one. I don't know that anyone's going to be coming in that's not seeing the first one. Is there some way to have the sign be visible? From
Okay.
Route 30, Boston Road, is it there?
So maybe we
Or
just,
is it even needed if you have one? Does that suffice for both parts of it? That's the question, I think.
It may,
yeah,
but I think you want to decide. And the other thing is that you still could have a temporary sign, because people
well,
will
that's
be
what I was talking
walking.
about. I was talking about the temporary sign. I
So
think,
they'll need a
for
temporary sign
phase two.
for phase two when they
Right.
start the work.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
You'll have people in there, maybe walking up to where the new trail starts. I don't know how how
So,
they're planning to keep it out.
Maybe we talk to Kat and just have a conversation about wanting placement for a phase two temporary sign. So I don't know, you guys have worked on the sign. Is that something you guys want to do, is have that conversation? I'm happy to have the conversation. It's totally up to you guys.
I don't mind reaching out. You have
Okay,
to do.
totally fine. And just tell her we're interested in the placement on the temporary sign. I think we've kind of agreed on the sign for the temporary, so that could get us moving on that. Go ahead.
Well, I had a comment on one that we need to work on, and it's not on the list, and sorry, I didn't bring it up before, but it falls under,
It's not on the list.
it's not on
Could
your
it fall
three,
under- It's not on my three.
no. But it falls under the.
Is it an ongoing
the heading.
project?
Discussions of signage to complete projects.
But then I specifically listed the projects. But, yeah, go ahead.
The Halloran property signage, we need to come up with a plan for that. We don't have access, which is what held it up, but that is bond money that's we held back. And it would make everyone in accounting and treasury be very happy if we could take that off the books.
Okay,
So if you wish, I'd like to look into it a little bit, because what we had discussed, and this is for the committee, unlike the sign that you have here, that's a standalone, we had talked about as part of the project, having a sign that said the name of the property, like a kiosk type thing,
yeah,
and then have the CPA funding, part of that bigger signage. And that's something I wanted to talk about with the golf course as well. But there's options, and then maybe we can just go in there and see where we can put it up. And it's a likely place. I don't know if anyone's ever been in there, because you can't get there. Beautiful old carriage roads with stone bridges. I mean, it's very scenic, and that would probably, no matter how we get the access there in the future, people in the town are still, the butters are still using it, I would think. So I think there's value in, even if we don't know where the entrance is going to be, we could, look at getting something reasonable in there.
And I didn't, oh, good.
Just not knowing much about the history of the project, so will there eventually be public access to it, or is that,
Well, the Open Space Preservation Commission had a plan. And, it was taken out of our hands and hasn't been followed up on. So we'd like to take it back. It was our idea, it was our plan to follow through with it. And we'd like to do that. In the meantime, there is access. It's just not very convenient. There's another public parcel, open space that connects to it, but the access to that is part of a subdivision set aside, so it looks like you're walking up someone's front lawn. It's like this narrow, and you have to be like a mountain goat on your side going up a hill. And that, so you can use it if the town owns the strip of land. It's not an easement, but it's not something that those property owners are gonna want putting a sign up to go into that property, so. And then you have to walk up a hill and then down a hill and then around and back,
What road is that?
Hubley Lane.
It's open public and Rock Point.
No, there's no access up Rock.
There's nowhere, I thought there was a slim,
There's an easement, but town council said, we thought there's an easement, but it's not to the property owner of that property. So it's not even clear who it's to. But the Open Space Commission can look into this again, because, we can put forth the project idea.
okay, so you'll,
I just want to put it on your radar that it'd be nice if we could tie that up and get that money.
it's not on my list.
Halloran?
Yeah, it's not on here. All the money was spent or
No.
wasn't spent?
It's a bond, so it was a different list.
Oh,
It's not on, bonding doesn't come out on the list you had, but we've talked about Halloran because
Okay.
we've
I know.
voted 30K.
for a long time. Okay, so open space will work on that. I'll add it to our list. Well, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no,
Just
sorry.
in terms of design, I'm in favor of customizing the signs to each project. I
Agreed.
think it sounds better than just this project,
Agreed.
especially for something like the golf course where, 20 years from now or something, you see a sign that says this project and you don't know what it's
Absolutely.
referring to.
Yeah. So that leads me to my next suggestion. So if you talk to Kat on the trails, would you, and again, this isn't something necessarily for the next meeting, but say maybe in the next month, that you and Kristen can have a conversation about signs for the Mooney Field lights. And Kristen, you'll have a better idea of what you guys would potentially be looking for. Harold E. Fay Memorial Park. I think we should hold off on those until we see what happens with,
Yeah.
and just do one sign makes more sense. We have the volleyball court at Neary. Now, wasn't that, Kristen, if I'm not wrong, was that not done by a Boy Scout or something?
It was a Boy Scout.
Yeah,
Was it?
no,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm sure there's a sign, some type of small sign there saying that the Boy Scout did it. I think our sign should be a little bit bigger, but you know what I mean, still in the
Yeah.
same range. So if you
Yeah.
guys can look at that one. I'm just going through these
One
real
quick-
quick.
I agree with what you said about the Memorial Park. But seeing that we might have a long road ahead, is there anything we need to do to be able to close out the basketball court project, like even a temporary one
Well, so it's the basketball court and the playground.
and the playground? So
And the
even
playground. So I
because-
mean, if you guys wanted to come up with maybe something for a small permanent sign, and then at some point, maybe we could do. You're giving me the look. Go
No,
ahead.
no, you're
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just thinking.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were trying to.
No,
tell me.
no, look.
Don't, shh, don't say that. Maybe to come up with something that, we could do something smaller there and then do a larger, more permanent sign later, but just something, small so people know. So that
Yeah.
would be the basketball court.
I did have a thought.
Go ahead.
No guarantee you're gonna have a bigger sign if that project doesn't go through.
We can always add. Well, I just don't wanna put a bunch of signs up, 3 or 4 signs up in the park, Freddie. I think that defeats the whole purpose
Right.
of,
I get that.
so do we,
What if we put up one of the, because we talked about temporary signs while a project's happening, could we just stick one there while we figure this out? I'm just interested in closing it out.
I know, I am too, Kristen. I mean,
How about if you figure out how much funds are left in the account?
I
and come
have-
up with a reasonable amount in one of the projects that would cover a large sign for the two projects,
but
if there
then,
was no large sign.
but we don't know if there's a large sign to come now.
So I'm saying there's two accounts.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers
I
in
do,
front of me.
2,201 and 17,006 in the other.
Right, so the 17,006, I don't think a sign's gonna cost that much. So maybe we can come up with, if a sign is going to be substantial for the two projects you've done.
Do
No.
one sign for both?
One sign for both. You don't want a sign for the,
Yeah,
Okay.
one side.
I'm
I
being
think
clear.
that makes sense because even if the other project goes forward, our intent is to try to hopefully have people navigating in different ways. It's almost like there are two discrete areas. So I think that would be
I wouldn't
okay.
even say, I don't even know that you need another sign. And you don't have to make this sign, just hold the money back, just come up with an idea of what the cost would be for
Oh, I
the
see what you're
sign
saying.
you want.
Yeah.
Hold that money in one of those accounts, close the other account out. And then after town meeting, you'll know if you're getting the big,
Yep,
you know,
yep. And hopefully we
am I
can,
making sense, Lisa?
You are. So,
and
okay,
hopefully we can use the 2,200 because it'd be much nicer to return, obviously, the 17,000. So,
okay, so you'll do, sorry, give me 1 second before I lose my train of thought here. So you're gonna talk about Mooney Lights, the basketball court and the playground, the volleyball court at Neary. I think that's a great start. You guys can even work on those four. That leaves a couple more. I think nope, those are historical. Never mind.
how about
So,
Richardson tennis courts?
I have, hold on. Recreation, Mooney Field Lights, Fay Basketball, sorry, I don't wanna get in trouble. Fay Memorial Basketball and Playground, and the volleyball court at Neary. Those are the only ones that are on my list right now, Kristen. Maybe it goes with the bond, the same one that there's more for bonding.
Yeah, that might make sense.
Where is that? What was it again?
The
Richard?
Richardson lights and tennis court. The over by Neri, the tennis courts. The lights.
Okay,
The lights at, we didn't fund those, sorry.
yeah, I don't know. It's
The ones
not,
that would,
it's not on the list, but I'll check on those. I'll check on those, Kristen. Anyway, we'll check. But if
Okay.
you guys could work like in the next month and maybe come back in January, we could tie some of these things out. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Okay, and I will, talk to the fire chief and just let him know that we'll be, someone will be coming forward, and I think we should just, in looking at the memorial, I think we can figure out a very tasteful sign that would go, and I'm sure that he would be fine with that. Respectful. And then I think that would be good for now. I think that's a great start. So, and then we'll just pick away at the list. Go ahead, Grant.
I have a couple questions
Sure.
about historical projects. I know
Yes.
we talked previously about the St. Mark's church, which I did check out, and there is no sign there.
Okay,
I don't know if it's too far gone, but the Burnett House, I believe, does not also have a sign. Could be wrong about that, but they have a lot of other signs about no trespassing and stuff like that, which is kind of.
okay, we can check into these.
But
I don't know what happened there. There was a requirement,
Yeah.
We can
and
go back. to that.
pushback.
Oh, yeah, there's been pushback.
But
There's definitely been pushback on even with historicals enforcement with PR and other
So-
things too. So, yeah, but I just think it's kind of sad that there's a misspelled sign for Frederick Law Homestead, which misspells his name twice on the same sign.
In the same way or different ones?
Misspells Frederick and Homestead.
Cool.
Yeah. And then, there's all those no trespassing signs and other things, but there's no sign about, the towns investment in it, which I think is a shame. I don't know if it's beyond it. I know we're still paying for the bond, but the project is closed out, so I don't know.
So I have one
yeah,
for the old burial ground restoration.
Um,
So there's still the contingency money left and there's been no type of signs you want to think about now, Grant? Maybe even bring it to historical between now and then to try to get an idea of
Yeah,
what.
what was the, I'm actually,
Sure, it
What was
was the Bureau of Administration, let me pull it up. It was
Storage
that was the-
gravestones.
from, yeah,
Oh,
from
good.
Kate,
okay.
Kate, wasn't it?
Kate Madsen.
Kate Madsen,
Yeah.
correct. Yes,
So I know we're engaged, it's kind of taking a long time, but with the Revolutionary War veterans marker, which is obviously different, but it's kind of been a focus for us in terms of getting the bronze plaque up for that.
there's actually
But I
two,
don't-
wait a minute, there's the renovations of the, the memorial, never mind, I take it back, forget it, it's not you, sorry.
No, but that's right there as well, the All
Right.
Wars Memorial, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are right adjacent to.
So just maybe,
Yeah.
just give some thought to something tasteful that, you know what I mean, I wouldn't want to just put up a blah sign on something
Yeah.
that's historic and, you know, as special as that, so again, just so we can start just ticking away at some of these, so if Alan, you could reach out to Kat and for phase two, get something going, that would be great. And then Grant, if you could think about that, and then Kristen and Alan, again, not for the meeting on the 18th by any means, but just, you know, get through the holidays, you know, Christmas with family is, I'm sure you guys could look at it after the new year, you know, just so we're just moving forward on some of these, that would be really great.
Yep.
So, Freddie, do you have anything else to add to that?
Just on the golf course,
Yeah,
which with all the projects we had talked about having out on Route 85, a substantial sign with the name of the golf course. And then putting that it was CPA funded out there.
Isn't that stalled right now? Or am I
the irrigation system is, but we did the restoration and the parking lot, there was two
Oh.
different projects. From there, okay,
Which, what I'm saying is something at the clubhouse area.
a
You're
permanent.
only seeing the golfers, and the whole property is of value to the townspeople with a conservation restriction and the view through that the conservation restriction is what protects the view, and there's the golfing and the tech thing, so just something to think about.
What about a sign over here? Not out at 85. I know that there's a sign out there now, and I just don't know how far the town's gonna allow adding something. What about putting something over here as they go into the golf course, some type of permanent sign saying, you know,
What wouldn't be allowed on, sorry, I stuttered there, but what do you think wouldn't be allowed on Route 85 saying Southborough Golf?
well, there's already a sign that says Southborough Golf Course. I'm just thinking of consistency. So you want to add another sign saying Southborough Golf Course funded by CPC? Or, I mean,
preservation of? the
I'm
golf
talking
course through
about a
conservation?
big sign, whatever sign is there for the golf course, if you don't know it's there, you don't know it's there.
okay, all right, so we'll
I'm just throwing it out there
Okay,
to think about,
okay.
okay?
I'm not understanding what you're saying, so we'll talk
Like a
offline.
big sign.
Okay.
With it, like most golf
But again,
courses.
those
would have.
signs, just keep in mind, those signs are also gonna have to be signed off at the townhouse. Any signs on town property have to be approved by the town, by Mark. Not necessarily like recreation to theirs, but like, for instance, the Triangle Park, the townhouse, the library.
Yep.
All of those have to be signed off. So I don't know if something would have to be signed off, but that's a question we're gonna.
And I think
ask,
it would
that's
be the golf course committee would also have to weigh in on this
Of
as
course.
well, so.
all. Okay. Okay.
There's
So
her hand up,
who does?
Claire.
Oh, I'm sorry, Claire. I hand my back to you. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, this is just, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I am totally lost on this whole sign thing. Number one, is this in the handbook or did that not cover signs?
So it was a requirement. It is.
Okay, so here, just to net it out, real basic. You have a project. You have a sign during the project, and then you have a sign after the project's done. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Because the projects were funded by taxpayer money. So,
understood.
okay.
So it just seems to me there's a lot of are we trying to catch up on signs that haven't been done for past projects?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a list of projects that are outstanding, Claire.
Okay,
Some go back over time. We're just trying to get the signs because that's what's stopping these projects from being
Gotcha.
closed out. And there's like $79,000 that can come back to CPC once the signs are done. I mean, obviously the
Gotcha.
cost of the signs comes out of that money, but yeah, we're just
Yeah.
trying to play catch up to some old housekeeping.
so I don't know if everybody knows, but and some of this might be relevant, pertinent, or whatever to the downtown area. That the town got $30,000. It's totally separate from CPC money. That the town got $30,000 from a one-stop grant to do what they call wayfinding, where the state provides a professional marketing whatever it is to come up with professional signs to enhance the finding what is in the downtown area. It would seem to me that the golf course might fall under this. And maybe some other projects along there. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that that money will be available January 1st. And it involves and what we get for it is free use of I don't want to say free, but we get a
That's just great.
professional marketing agency or marketing group.
Thank you, Claire. That's interesting because in the downtown, we still have the library and the townhouse.
Exactly, yeah, and the cemetery,
Yeah,
you've got
and
the
the
park,
church,
you've
and the
got all
railing.
of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff coming up downtown, the railing and, okay, that's great, Claire, thank you. As we
Yep.
move forward, I'm getting some of the smaller ones knocked off now, that would be great, thank you. Okay, next up, I do not have a update on the preservation restriction. I know they were close. I tried to reach out to John today and we just kept missing each other. So I had told him prior that my hope was to have this wrapped up before the end of the year. So I will follow up and I'll have a better update for you at our meeting on the 18th.
The CPC doesn't approve that, right? That's just the town itself entering into it.
Well, yes,
And as a
how it
corporation.
relates to the CPC though is there's bond money
Right, But-
left
right.
in an account that depending on what happens here, we will probably be having to write warrant articles based on disposition of that money, because for the last one, the 30,000 from the Halloran property that we moved over, all we had to do was take a vote. You remember that?
Mhm.
And we applied it towards a bond. Over 50K, it's another story, and
Yeah.
I'm working out the details with town treasurer and accountant on like how we go through that, because it's a big,
It's a good chunk of change.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we don't, in terms of the provisions of the PR, whether or not we think it's actually protecting the building, that kind of thing, the CPC doesn't do that because it's the town corporation
Yeah.
essentially entering into the.
I think if you were to ever do another big project like either of those, you would the CPC would have some discussions ahead of time.
Yeah.
And make it clear. I think the ultimate goal is that it protects what you spent your funding on.
Yeah.
I don't think you might want to ask to see it and be sure it does that and weigh in on it, but you have no authority to have any input, but it,
Okay,
I'll ask for it, though.
Yeah.
I'll ask John. If it's completed, then I think we should have a copy of it. So I will ask him for that. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes. Just so everyone knows, for the meeting on the 18th, the minutes from the 16th, 10/16, 11/19, and tonight will all be in the, and thank you to Claire for being so great in doing the minutes. I know Ellen had done some edits.
My pleasure.
You are great. Want to do the 7/16 first, Grant? And that was basically, I don't know how, I went through your edits and I went, oh yeah, it was at the
I
townhouse.
just, I just
Yeah.
remember that, yeah, the
Yeah.
conversation with Jay.
So, and I will just add, Ellen, that I know you, in the past, I had listed the non-members present.
Yeah.
Claire does that, so going forward, it's probably a good practice to
Okay.
do. So I just don't know specifically other than Jay. Oh, you added them. So yeah, that's fine. And Kat,
Typically, you only do it if they speak, right? That's what I do.
Yeah, that's the only two.
yeah, so I'm actually, I think it's a good practice. And like I said, Claire already does that. So, yeah,
Sorry, which,
7:16.
Okay.
7:16. Very good. I am fine with Ellen's edits. She caught a few. I was doing present versus past tense on some of the stuff, but
Was Jay on Zoom? When was it?
he was there.
In person? It said Zoom.
Oh, it does? Oh, when do I say that?
I'm sorry, that was my fault. I thought he was there by Zoom. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Claire, you're the blue?
No, well, no,
Ellen's blue.
Ellen is blue, I'm red.
Okay, so yeah, so we'll just change that. Oh my gosh.
And
Okay,
Catherine was physically there.
On the
yes, she was
screen.
there too. Yeah,
That's
they were
fine.
both there. Okay. And I don't know where I got 6:35 from.
You know,
I don't know what I was thinking there, boys. I was pretty specific on, anyway.
I was like, did the meeting start at 6:30? And
I have no idea. No idea, but maybe it did. Maybe I just put 7 o'clock wrong. Tell you what, will you guys go
it
through
was,
these?
no, I checked.
Oh, you
It
did.
was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I should have known. Very thorough. Did anyone else have anything other than what's here? I'm fine with everything that was added. I think it was all pretty basic. This was like the last of the, I think the long set of minutes that we were going to do. There was a lot that went on at this one, so
You know, these were excellent minutes.
Yeah, they were.
Really a lot of details of
I
the
just
conversation.
I figured
so,
with Jay, it was
yeah.
important that as some committee down the road goes back,
Yeah.
that, you know, it was important to do that. So
Yeah.
I don't have any other further edits. Kristen, did you?
No,
Okay, thank you. Claire, so you just had the edits already put in?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve them.
Okay. Okay, so Claire made a motion. Is there a second?
Okay.
Grant, second. We'll do a roll call vote. Grant,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Kristen,
yes,
Claire,
Yes,
Lisa, yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's that stuff. Thank you.
They said the only other was the removing the Zoom. Or who's sending them? Are you sending it in? or-
If you want to just update them, I'm happy to send them in, because I'm gonna go back there and just make sure that there's no documents that I missed.
Okay.
As well, I don't think there was, but. Yeah, I'm happy to do it, Frank. Thank you,
Okay.
because I just want to send it. Okay. That takes us
9:17.
to 9:17. Where did that go? Now. 9:17, okay.
and I can speak to a couple of the changes here. Ellen did a great job in editing them, and I don't know,
Yeah.
somebody else did some initial edits on there. And the only
Ellen.
ones that I can talk to are the ones, Ellen had 2 questions that I clarified, but they're further on down. So what I did was where it says that it needs more context, I actually went back into this was before my time, but I went back and I guess the last time around when historical did something with Fayetteville Hall. I put a note there, and this is actually right from the transcript, and Grant can either say yes, he approves, or he doesn't approve.
One thing I'll just change here is that it was the Historical Society application instead of the commission. I believe, right?
Yeah.
because what I was referring to, if I recall correctly, was the fatal applications and whether or not funds could be used for a parking lot.
Right.
It didn't proceed enough to figure that out.
Right.
You know, there were other kind of questionable use of CPA funds in that application, and I think that's kind of lumped in with what I consider to be questionable. But,
Yeah.
I don't have great clarity on it, so I think the phrasing here makes sense about unresolved and questioned. Rather than asserted.
I was okay with,
Over on the right-hand side is what I actually took from the transcript and then just kind of put it into sentences.
It's very formal, but we'll do it.
Well, that's what it is otherwise.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Farrington.
Okay. Hey, I'm just gonna scroll down for what else? What was that?
I would like the phrase golf course.
Changed.
okay. And that's pretty much. I'm fine with those changes. Kristen, did you have anything further?
No, I also just appreciate the effort put here.
Okay, yeah, Grace, do you have anything further? I have nothing further either. That being said, Claire, would you like to make a motion?
I do, to approve September 17th minutes
Second,
Grant?
with edits.
With edits, thank you. Roll call vote, Grant,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Kristen,
yes.
Claire,
Yes.
Lisa, yes, okay, thank you. That was a good catch, with Brett. I wasn't at this one, so.
This is just.
Just minor. My name's spelled Kristin.
That throughout, or is it just
Oh,
once?
looks just once,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just once, okay.
Any other edits? See none. Claire, do we have a motion?
Yes, approve the minutes for September 24th.
As
with
edited?
the edits.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have a second? Great, thank you. Roll call vote, Grant.
Yes.
Ellen.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes because we need to form to vote on them, so I will say yes, even though I wasn't there. You could do that, so that's okay. All right, perfect. Thank you, folks. That's great. And our next meeting is the 18th. That seemed to work for everybody. It's 7 o'clock. It'll be in the townhouse. In the townhouse meeting room, and Sam will be recording. You still need to open the Zoom and then bring them in as a panelist.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be all set, and Katie knows how to do that too.
And we'll
Hello?
let the each area know who's going first, right? Because these are gonna be like your discussions.
Yeah, so, yes. I will. I'll put it together, Chris, and I'm thinking. It seems like there's not gonna be a whole lot of discussion on. I mean, we have nothing for historical or the trust. So, I think we do those two first, take our votes on those and, then we do recreation after that. Cause it seems like there'll be more discussion on that.
I think we were talking about delaying a vote on historical.
Correct. I will ask that night. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I will invite everybody to come, and I will shoot the letters out and then I'll put a copy of the letters in the Dropbox. I'll start the Dropbox tomorrow.
I don't
And-
want anyone to be blindsided. I do think I agree most of the discussion, and I'm sorry, I'm juggling something for my daughter here. I think that there will be most discussion on recreation, but I do think there will be some discussion on the housing. So I just don't want to like blindside Ellen. Like Ellen, when you said maybe Doug should come, I think that'd be a good idea.
Right, well, I'm gonna invite him. I'm gonna send an invitation out. Don't worry. I'm gonna send an invitation to historical as well, even though we know what's probably gonna happen with that. But, you know, Kevin may want to come and give some update. So, everyone will be invited. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. With that being said, the meeting on the 18th, everybody's clear. It's at the townhouse at 7 o'clock. And, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Claire, you're
Second.
second. All right, we have a motion of the second, sorry. Roll call vote, Grant.
Yes.
Ellen. Yes. Claire.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Lisa, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Night
everybody.
all.
Talk
Good
next week.
night.
Thanks again, Claire.